right? More on a somewhat positive tip. We have the American Federation of Negro Students, right? The first national black student organization in American history, founded in fall 1922 by the leaders of the Negro Youth. Now, while this was one of the earliest instances of black student organizing, what year? Fall 1922, right? So how many years ago was that?
Jessica,
Like 97?
Like 97? Let's call it 97, right? Is that, when we look at history, is that a lengthy period of time or a not so lengthy period of time? Huh? It's not, right? How do we shape the study of history? Right? Like when we talk about, oh, back in the blank blank, we had these things going on. We go off centuries. Right? We say, oh, in the 19th century, 18th century, 21st century. We go off 100 years. That's like the period. Right? The first black student organization wasn't even founded a century ago. It hasn't even hit that mark yet. Right? We're still within that same amount of time that the first black student organization was founded. Again, history, all these things have not happened in these super far away, right, land of the lost in the past type scenarios. These things happened just yesterday, right? And then we have the National Conference for Negro Youth, founded by Mary McLeod Bethune in 1937. Again, this year is not that far away. All right, I don't know his name. Like, that's crazy. I don't want to be like, you. That's crazy. Destiny, can you read this for us?
Yes.
Thank you.
When black campus activists were not being harassed, injured, or killed, they were being expelled and arrested.
This is a rhetorical question. You don't have to answer it, but just think to yourself. Is there a cause or an issue today that you would be willing to go through these things for? Don't answer, just think to yourself. Right? Is there an issue, a cause, an idea, right, a group of people that you are willing to subject yourself to these things? I think it's a question all black college students face, whether we know it or not. Right? It's one of those things like you either in this or you're not. And if you're in this is what you can expect. That's some people.
Black campus activists around the nation also had to face criminal courts, arrests, suspensions, expulsions, and police brutality during their effort to racially reconstitute higher education.
Right? What is it we want to put ourselves through? Right? It's all up to this thing called willpower. Right? Each of us in this room is more than capable of achieving and earning everything that they deserve. It's a question of your will. Right? If you are in this room to truly racially reconstitute higher education, right? Are you willing to go through these things? Right? It's that notion of by any means necessary. And that isn't, we're not supposed to say that, yeah, brother, by any means necessary. And then we like, oh, I'm not trying to do it like that. Or isn't there an easier way? Right? We have to understand what that really means. So now we move on to just a few specific events that occurred during the Black Campus Movement and really shaped sort of the physical repercussions of Black student organizing. So we have the Houston Riot, as it was dubbed, right, May 17, 1967, right? And again, wanting to reframe the way we study and analyze history, we call it the Houston Rebellion. Now, a quick sidebar. What is the difference between a riot and a rebellion? Is there a difference?
Yeah.
What do we think? We have a riot on one hand, and we have a rebellion on the other. Yes, sir. What do we think? Why would there be two different words if they meant the same thing? Say it again.
One's more negative.
Okay, which one is more negative?
Riot.
Why?
A riot implies like destruction.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
some type of like
So we have a riot.
property being damaged.
It has more of a negative connotation, right? And then a rebellion. So real quick, if a riot has a violent connotation, right? What does a rebellion have then? Huh?
It's still violent. It's I think the difference
Okay.
is in like organization.
Lisa, say it again.
Oh Lord,
heard
the difference is in organization.
The difference in the organization. What do you mean by that?
I mean, a riot sounds more like spontaneous.
Okay.
Like we just got up here and we're mad and we don't have a plan.
Okay.
A rebellion is something that's more planned out. Like we're gonna meet at this time and this is what's gonna happen. You know.
So watch. Thank you. The perfect sort of metaphor or analogy to use for this comparison, right, a riot versus a rebellion, we can think of fireworks versus a bonfire. How do we light fireworks? Oh! Pop, 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 woo!
Not woo.
Yay! Right? How long does that process last? Temporary, right? But give me a number, a length of time.
30 seconds.
56 seconds.
So look, whether it's 56 seconds, 65 seconds, it's short, right? It's temporary. It doesn't last very long. So that's fireworks. Now, how about a bonfire?
Bonfire or bomb?
Hours. How do we start a bonfire?
Like,
You get wood, lighter, some lighter fluid.
Lighter fluid,
Gotta have a pit for sure.
matches, marshmallows, a pit. Okay.
Need a pit.
Right? Wood, right? We need all these things, right? All these materials. With fireworks, it's already packaged. All you need is a lighter, and it goes off, right? A rebellion, you have to plan that. You have to organize that. If we have a bonfire, right, and nobody knows who's bringing the wood, who's bringing lighter food, we gonna show up like, shit, who got the wood? You don't got it? I don't got it, right? A lack of planning and a lack of organization, you can't have a bonfire, right? And a lack of planning and a lack of organization, you get a riot, right? Quick side. So, the Houston Rebellion, right? Texas Southern, right? University. The TSU 5, right? Trezevant Franklin Jr., Lloyd Nichols, Charles Freeman, Douglas Wayne, Waller, John Parker. How old are they?
20, 25, 18,
Wait, somebody say,
21,
how old are they?
young adults.
They are our age,
Well, I'm not 20.
right? I just turned 21 not too long ago. You were gang for me? Okay, so when we look at these names, right, I want us to understand the real gravity and the real weight of looking at these names. Again, history. We think when we study European history, right? We study, who do we study? Who are they? Are they young? They're old. Right? Old white men. Right? So look, the point is, we can look at this form of history, let's just call it Black history, as a general term. I want us to look at studying Black history as looking at ourselves in the mirror. Right? What does a mirror do? Reflects. What happens if you stand in front of a mirror? You see yourself. When we study this history, we are looking at ourselves. Right? It's not like we can study George Washington, he was this old, whatever. You look at him, you like, this nigga's ugly, whatever. Right? But when we study these people, right, these are our people. This is us up here. Right? Once we put it into that kind of a perspective, we go, damn. Right? It personalizes it for us. So, Texas Southern, right? Houston Rebellion. At Texas Southern, after a 3-hour stalemate with student snipers that lasted into the early morning of May 17th, the police fired more than 2,000 shots into the dormitory with rifles and carbines. After 40 minutes of gunfire, which wounded at least one student, the police officers stormed the dormitory. One officer was shot and killed. 2 others were wounded during that swarm. The officers then ripped apart the dorm, hospitalizing several students, and found 3 guns. With guns pointed at their backs, almost 500 students were compelled to lie face down on the cold, wet ground before being arrested. Question: who dorms? Show of hands. Show of hands. For the folks who dorm, or hands down. Who either dorms or knows somebody who dorms? Okay. Imagine this. Let's say you're going back to your dorm or you're going to the homies dorm, whatever the case is. Right? And then 2,000 shots, right, riddle your wall. 2,000 shots. What does that sound like?
Death.
Joseph, what'd you say? What'd you say?
D-Day.
What'd you say?
War. That's a war zone.
Okay, Call of Duty. What'd you say, Call?
I said a war
A
zone.
war zone. Enemy contested and held zones. Right? 2,000 shots. It's not like somebody's out in the parking lot tripping and they fire off a couple. This is 2,000 rounds. Niggas had to reload. Right? They weren't firing out of fear. They were like, all right, click, click, empty that one, get a new one. Intention behind it. Things are calculated. We are in a war. Right? And we are in enemy held and contested zones.